Hi YouTube. So I'm back. I don't know what was happening, but a lot has happened. But I'm gonna try to do this makeup real quick. I'm cooking dinner. We're having hot dogs because that's what's on the menu, right? Yeah. Come on. So, got that going on. Trying to figure out what direction of everything I want to take. Just been really struggling with mental health and everything. I'm 29. I now have 5 kids, 1 husband, and we live here in a 3-bedroom apartment. Trying to get more subscribers so we can get out of the hood. Hello. Like, come on. Let's get this going. And I'm sorry I have low energy. Like, I'm actually a fun person, but I just got really low energy right now. But I'm tired. So got that. And I'm not a talker, y'all, so excuse me. Literally some I reckon apps like this low. A lot don't come to my brain besides like a lot of torment. Not a lot comes to my brain because of a lot of taunting thoughts. You know? So I'm going on. I'm gonna show you dinner in a second, but so this summer I was put on Seroquel for bipolar 1 with psychotic features. I don't like to sleep either. Scoop up a side of that, especially when I'm manic. I could listen to music all night. I'll talk your head off. If you want to spin on somebody, I can get in, and you know, we can do that too. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No. Don't let you have any enemies. They're now mine. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it gets bad up in here. But so that's funny. That was a little humor for like, why not, right? But so just been like just been struggling with mental health, right? So I grew up in CPS from 1 year old to 18 years old. They tried to put me with family and everything like that. And I did actually put me with family and stuff like that for a minute, like all the way until like I was like 12 and stuff like that. Yeah, and then, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was on and out of me. Like, you know, I had stayed with Aunt Paula for a few years. I love her. I stayed with Uncle Alfred at the end for a few years and stuff like that. Love him now. And then I had ran away because I wanted to find out who my mom was. I had never seen her before. Like, literally. I didn't remember even how she looked. Ran away and freaking seen her. No, actually, my sister had. No, I ran away. Her and my sister came and got me, and I ran away with them. And we rode the metro back to the north side. We was on the south side over there by Chimney Rock. I was going to Johnson Middle School at the time. I stayed Stonewest Drive. Stonewest Drive over there. You know what I'm saying? Right on the side of Westbury. It was a neighborhood right there. And that shit. Stay right there for the meantime and shit. Cause you know, being a CPS, you know, you move around a lot and stuff like that. But my sister and with that, they came and got me. We rode the bus back to the north side, back to Studewood and shit like that. So about that. When I was younger, we'd be at his home and stuff like that with my grandma and stuff like that. I had went to but anyway, I'm going back. I can't tell the story. Oh my God. But it's all just so much. But you know, so we get over there, you know what I mean, try to get me in school, can't get me in school because she ain't got no parental rights. That got terminated. She was a crackhead, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean, they wanna, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah. You know, so but she wasn't smoking at the time. She was doing good. She was off about, you know, I think like 2 years or something like that. Cause she did like 7 years in the penitentiary and shit like that. Like, you know, she did like 5 and then she got out and then she did 2. So it's like, I'm trying to stay with her though. But a year go by, no school. I'm watching all the kids go to school and shit. Waving and shit. I'm just rolling the blunts on the staircase and shit. I used to go around the apartments and ask you for $1. And then once I get to $7, $8, I go to the front store and I buy me a pack of Newport Sloan. And I used to be walking and just be 14, mind you. I was 13. Because then I remember they came and got me when I was 14. But I was going to MC Williams and Ace Home. I went to MC. I was in special ed. I had been in special ed in every school I go to though. I was in those behavior modification classes. I guess that's where they put you before they diagnose you and shit like that. But around this time, I was not diagnosed. I remember I wasn't taking no meds or anything. I would just smoke weed every day. I smoked weed every day. Like I had to like stay high. Like basically that was like, you know, my psychiatrist would say like, you know, that was my way of like self-medicating myself. Then boom, police got me. They found out that I was living with my mama. They found out I was living with my mama and I wasn't supposed to be living with my mama. So they came and got me. They They arrested me. I remember because I was like telling my sister, I was like, if it's real, get my name tatted on you. And police threw me on the car. And then put me back. To me, what I like to say, put me back in the system and shit. And so took me to I remember it was called Glenshire. Glenshire, this was a group home. Glenshire, it's on the south side. Brought me back to the south side too. Glenshire, go in, you walk, you know, left, right, you see big ass rooms, beds. They had it built like a house though. But inside and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? It was, they had 5 other girls. I was their 6th, you know what I mean? My caseworker had, took me down. Dropped me off. Left me. I'm fighting for my life. The movies is right. These hoes don't like me. They mad at their mamas. I really just wanted to chill with my mom. I wanted to low-key just smoke one more blunt with my mom. Like, but they took me, like, cause man, my mom used to, like, man, she broke my blunts and stuff. By the time I used to come home from school and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. It was just like, my mom was like super, like, G-code. You know what I'm saying? So, I was like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? I used to dress her and shit like that. She dressed herself and shit. I'm like, yeah, don't go to my school. I'm like, hey, if you come to my school today, put on this, and that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's tripping me out though. But, yeah, and them girls just like, yeah, they was like, you know, all on meds and shit like that. Boom. I just start fighting. I just start fighting. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? I start whooping their ass left and right. You know what I'm saying? Because at school, I'm like, this is me. This is old. Like, you don't do that to me. I'm a nice girl on purpose. You know what I'm saying? So when you tweak, you calling a real tweaker. So I'm like, I'm being nice on purpose. So when you get to showing that ugly shit and I retaliate, this is shit, I don't know what the fuck. But it was crazy. But seeing a psychiatrist and stuff like that, I'm taking my meds. Therapy, I ain't really like the therapist. I ain't really like talking back in the day. Because I had already heard that, you know, it's like, hey, man, it's your job. Like, you don't really give a fuck. Like, you getting paid. I like genuine people. I know you're not being genuine. And that's just how my brain thought at a young age, being a teenager in the CPS system. Like, I know all y'all getting paid for this. Like, bro, that's why I want my mama. You know what I'm saying? Even if my mama don't want me. I just, you know, I'll take what I can get, but y'all really ain't my people. And so, man, so many Caucasian people was driving me here, driving me there, taking me here, taking courthouse, court dates, psychiatric evaluations. You flip out, you're going to the mental hospital. In the mental hospital, flipping out. In there with the shit. To me, this was the autistic. In there with the autistic. This is surpassed bipolar or crazy or some shit. I don't know. You're in there with the autistic people. So, in there, you know, losing your shit in there. They held me down, put a shot in my ass. Big niggas. Big black. Like, put a shot in my ass. Get the act and the donkey in there, that's what you gonna get. Got a little discoloration for my mustache right there. But they held me down, put a shot in my ass, gave me PTSD. I'm sure I get the bipolar and psychotic features, but the PTSD part, I'm sure it came from that day right there. Like, you could have swore these niggas. Like, but I get, cause I'm acting hate, like you know what I'm saying? Like they have you in that room, they call it the quiet room, cause that's, you gonna shut your ass up. Man, I told being in CPS low key was way traumatizing than any mental illness, I think, or like that. But shit, it used to trip me out though. It used to trip me out, and the staff, they used to sit back with a notepad, plus they just watching me. They just watch. I knew they was watching. I know you him. I knew they was watching me. I knew, but that's your job. That's cool. I'm just finna do me regardless. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm watching you too. Just know that. And that's kind of like, the staff used to trip me out though. The staff used to trip me out though. I ain't no good storyteller. Looks so. But, man, I used to, but you know, we got meds. You take a meds morning and night. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you my meds. I remember it from the back of my head. Now, I took Depakote. 200 milligrams. No, Depakote like 800 milligrams. I'm tripping. Depakote like 800 milligrams. Trazodone 200 milligrams. Depakote, Trazodone, Risperdal, I don't know, I forgot how many milligrams that shit been. It's been 10 years and like so. Depakote, Trazodone, Focalin, and I'm glad I'm catching this. Just like where it's only been 10 years since my childhood. It's only been 10 years since my childhood. And how shit traumatized you. Like, now, ran away from Glenshire group home. The girls, they hyped me up. We out the window and stuff like that. Like, we stuffed our beds and shit like that. Like, that's why I say, man, this shit used to be like a movie. We under the bridge, under the freeway, listening to the cars pass by. It go. That shit used to sound like a heartbeat. And we used to sit under the freaking freeway at the top where the homeless be at. And the shit was amazing. I remember I had to be manic or like that. The meds, I don't know if that, because I just felt so alive. It was so, man, it used to be so euphoric. Like, being special ed. Like, the shit felt so surreal. Like, oh my gosh. But, and shout out to them girls. Them girls know who I am. Man. But I remember then after that, bro, that night we got into, we went, in the McDonald's line. I ain't even in the car. We just playing in these people line. Like, just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't even got nothing to do, just, and these people just playing that shit. But, the shit tripped me out so good though. And then after that, we met people. Now, this is why I tell you. We met some fucking people, right? It's this nigga, right? And 3 females. I think Now I look back at my life, bro, I think he was pimping them. One of the females' eyes, bloodshot red. Like the color, like, damn, like literally bloodshot red. Like, literally bloodshot red. Like, and they said that she popped a blood vessel in her eye from smoking too much weed. I was like, bro, like, what? Like, this shit had tripped me out. I was like, damn, like, but we in these people room, we in their room. We in their room, like, it was literally a room, like, we is, like, CPS teenage girls. I'm 14. Corinthia was, like, 15. It was a white girl. I forgot her name. I got pictures of them. I insert pictures. But I got pictures of, it was a white girl. She was like 17, 18 though. But you know what I mean? And kid you not, like I think this nigga and these 3 females, I don't call them hoes, but I think that I look back and I'm like, bro, I think they was like selling pussy out their room or something. But they smoked with us though. See, we was in CPS and like we hadn't, you know, we off the streets and shit like that. So it's like, you know, that's low key all we really want to do. Just where, you know what I mean, my teenage mind was. It's like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about this nigga. I'm not worried about what a dope at. Look at this. Like, I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? But they smoke with us and shit like that. Bro, we go and shit like that. They drop us back by the we see lights, laws, police lights, like everywhere. Instantly, next day, my caseworker, my caseworker came and got me and shit like that. Caseworker came and got me, like, and took me to another place, man, shit. Then I had went to, I ain't gonna see why I'll be forgetting my placements and shit. I just grandchild. They moved me to Fort Worth, ACH, Family, Children and Family Center. This was a little bit, this was locked down and stuff like that. Cause see, at Glenshaw, we was able to go to school and shit like that. And I think what it is that we kept on, cause I think that was the last time I had ran away, because I had ran away like 2 times prior there. And so I did not run away per se, but they call it AWOL. AWOL. Yeah, they call it AWOL and shit like that. I forgot. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, they call it, you know what I'm saying, AWOL and shit like that. So, you know what I mean? But I had went across the block because I made friends and shit like that. I made friends and homegirl, she had a tablet. And she used to let us borrow the tablet and shit like that. Like me and the other girls and shit. So we in the restroom, we taking pictures. That's how all them pictures got on Facebook and shit like that. Like I was doing my chores and shit. I was cleaning the restroom and I had to take a picture. I was so cute. But you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to see how many minutes this is. But yeah, so we had a tablet and we was taking pictures and everything and posting them on our Facebook and stuff like that. Mind you, we was out the public. Like we was out the public eye. We was like put up. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how it was though. But they moved me to ACH. So this time, no school, no out school, no making friends. Everybody, the school is on campus. The school is at the center. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is more locked down and shit like that. Get there and shit. Everything is going cool or whatever like that. But I think I'm like, well, how did I end up leaving this placement? I think I ended up getting into a fight or something like that. Because then that was Fort Worth. Then they moved me to Fort Bend. I went to Fort Bend, and I know for sure I ran away from there because I remember seeing a herd of cows. It's at the nighttime and shit. One of the girls had got a hold to a cigarette. Man, I said, we need to go outside for this one. One of the girls that got hold to the sick, I said, we need to leave for this. I said, man, we snuck out and shit like that. We snuck out. We running free. And that must have triggered a motherfucking, I don't know what the fuck is it. But because after I came back, I had gotten into a fight with a Mexican girl and shit. Her nose broke. I kid you not. And now that I look back over that, I feel so bad and shit like that, because that was just on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? On some weak ass shit. Well, like that, she was talking that shit though. But I guess I'm walking, sorry. But yeah. So I'm looking at that, and I see like we run away. We gone for a minute too. We gone for a minute and shit like that. And then we get to, we had broke into the back, like, you know, we was getting into shit. Like, bro, it's nighttime. And like, you know, we is off that one cigarette. That one cigarette triggers something in us. And shit, like, bro, but that shit was so scary, that fucking herd of cows and shit like that. But my caseworker came and got me from that, from Fort Bend and shit like that. I remember because I was going to Austin High School. And then, after this, I'm trying to see. Oh, yeah. The Pilchin. I went to the Pilchin. That's a lockdown facility. That's a RTC2. That's a residential treatment center. I was getting treated. In CPS, you got moderate, specialized, and intense. I had worked my way up into intense. If I'm not mistaken, if I think that this is, remember how this goes and shit like that. But I worked my way to intense and stuff like that. And this was a more lockdown facility and shit like that. And so it wasn't no, man, I was tearing it up like fights. If the boys, boy, they had to, it's so crazy because the CPS, they get these trainings and shit like that, how to restrain the little mental patients and shit. But I don't know what type of training them boys had. But when I tell you, they was not holding me. Like, they wasn't holding me. Like, to me, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, but they restrained my ass all the way back to the facility and shit like that. I was just like, oh my gosh. But man, every now and then, depression, you know what I'm saying? That was the hardest one. That was like, man, every now and then rumbling and shit like that. And then there, my PTSD used to get so dry. I had a roommate, white girl, loved her so much. She used to be so nice. And she was like in tune, like, you know what I'm saying? She used to do acid and shit like that. But her mama had sent her to this Christian academy. Her mama sent her to this Christian academy, and she was like, she seen like they was healing people and stuff like that. Like they like, you know what I mean? And then she seen like a man, he got his ear back and stuff like that. And she used to stay up all night telling me these stories, and I used to believe her and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? She showed me pictures. She was like a country girl, Western. She had a boyfriend. Her boyfriend's older than her and stuff like that. They driving trucks. They send each other songs and stuff like that, country songs and stuff like that. She used to stay up and listen to country music with me and stuff like that. And she used to like, I'll get scared at night, and she'd be like, man, like, just ask God to dispatch some angels and stuff like that. I'm like, he'll do that. God will give me some angels to protect me and stuff like that. And she was like, yeah. And she was like, just tell him however many you want. He'll say however many you want. You could tell him to put them in a room. You can tell him to put them around the building and stuff like that. And then she was like, you know, she was like, and I started believing it. Like, I literally believed her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was like, yeah, and she would pray, you know what I'm saying? She would pray every night, you know what I'm saying, with me and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, we was like traumatized for girls. It's like, you know, being in this CPS shit was like not for the weak and shit, man. It's cold at nighttime. You get in a fight, they locking you up in JJC. I used to get locked up in JJC. Every county and stuff like that. It's like I would get into like a different fight, and I would have to get locked up in their county. You know what I'm saying? Like in Fort Worth, I went to theirs. In Fort Bean, I went to theirs and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? In Houston and shit like that. I went to the JJC down here and shit like that. I was in there with J-Dog. She said she was J-Dog's daughter. So, I know. So, shit, I was like, yeah, fuck with you. But, like, that, like, so it used to be, man, it just shit was so mushed up and so crazy and stuff like that. Like, thick ass trays and shit like that. At nighttime, we had to take off our uniform and stuff like that, and we just have our panties and a t-shirt on, and it'd be cold at night. It'd be cold at night. Thick ass pad, thin ass pillow. You know what I'm saying? Loud ass fucking toilet. Metal ass shit, fogged out ass mirror. That's why I had learned how to braid my hair and shit like that, because it's like, but I only knew how to braid my hair. The girls used to try to, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know, but it wasn't no touching, no fraternizing. You know what I'm saying? So, little hotel ass soap and shit. Got the showers. Right here. That shit, two. And shit, stone in the middle. Shit was traumatizing, right? To me, in my mind, you know, at a young age and shit. Not while I was going through it, but like kind of later on, it always, like later on when I come out of shit, it's just like I look back and I just be like, ugh, you know what I'm saying? So, but you know what I mean, pissing in the bed, like that type of scared type shit, you know what I'm saying? But young, 14, 15, 16 is when I'm going. I remember getting out of, man, the pilching. After the pilching, they sent me to the mental hospital. That's when I had, went to the mental hospital and shit like that from the pilching. Because the pilching, I remember, man, it was a big fight that night and shit like that. I'm on top of the table. I'm taking the camera out the roof. I took the camera out the roof because something was triggering me. So they said that they was going to watch me. Why you say you was watching me? I took the camera out the roof and shit like that, so they charged me with property destruction. And where was I when I was going to Decaney? Because I had got property destruction at Decaney too. Because I snatched their phone out that wall. I got property destruction at Decaney. I can't remember. But damn, so hold on, my brain getting fogged up. But let me tell you, so at the Pilsen is a lockdown facility, school on campus and shit like that. So I was restrained. But after I went to after the property destruction and shit like that, obviously they felt like I was basically, then I can look back and I can see now that I've educated myself about this mental illness and stuff like that. I'm sure they felt that I was in a severe manic episode. And so they, so having that property destruction, I'm thinking they finna lock me up again, but no, they take me to the mental hospital. They take me to West Oaks, South Side. West Oaks Mental Hospital. I'm in West Oaks. You know, they sitting back watching, taking notes and shit like that shit. While they doing that, I know I'm getting all type of prescriptions. I had a little acne. I start telling the doctor, I'm like, yeah, give me that hydroxycodone for this acne that y'all got. Homegirl told me I can get some Carmex. Told my psychiatrist, I want to prescribe some Carmex. Little lotions and stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm taking my meds too. And I am still taking my meds. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? But I had an episode there. I did end up having an episode there. That's the one where I told you they had, them boys came in, big black niggas, slammed me, held me down, pulled my pants down, shot me in the ass. I get up, woozy than a motherfucker. And you don't know nothing about this type of stuff. I know some of this shit can, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be in this field of mental health. Woozy than a bitch. They put me in a wheelchair, wheel me back to my bed. I'm chilling after that. I'm cool. And shit like that. Yeah, because at lunch, what it is that we couldn't trade food and shit like that. And I used to be so hungry. I used to try to get them to sneak me their food and stuff like that. And so, you know what I mean? I think I was doing a trade and girl didn't want to, like, you know what I'm saying? And oh my God, I climbed on top of the table. I just started losing my mind and shit like that, basically. They put me in a choir room. I'm spitting at they shit. Like, it get bad. It get real mentally bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? It get bad. But I met a beautiful spirit. She was so beautiful. She had a feather with her like that. She was in there for suicide. She's cut real bad. She's cut real bad. Real bad. She had a feather tattooed right here and stuff like that. She had a feather. And it was so beautiful and stuff like that. But she said that she had just got off the table. They had to pump her with that charcoal. Pump her with that charcoal and shit like that. And get all them pills out of her and stuff like that. I used to tell her, I'm so glad that you didn't die. I'm so glad that it didn't work. Cause you cool. I didn't never really get, you know what I mean, a lot of friends and stuff like that. So when I did, like, you know what I mean, when I really did like somebody, I was like, you know, I used to be like, man, I like you, you know what I'm saying? But she was in CPS. She was in CPS. She had a mama and daddy, so she discharged and she went back home to her family, and I never seen her again. And that's really just how that went. But me, I was in CPS, so my caseworker came back when I discharged. I went back to the next placement actually. And my next placement after West Oaks, I went to that's when I started going to Decaney. They found me a foster lady. They found me a foster home, right? Miss Rosa, or like that. She stayed in A-Leaf. She stayed in A-Leaf, some nice apartments. Or if they moved for her, she had 3 other girls. Bunk beds, you know what I mean? You could tell this is what she do. She get girls and stuff like that. Because I wasn't intense no more. I had went down to specialized, and she had other specialized girls too. These is basically bitches that's noonie on my type of level. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in there, Mexican girl, cholo type of vibe, like, you know, black eyeliner, like, you know what I'm saying? Real, you know what I mean, crip walking type of bitch, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So she in there and shit like that. Other black girl, dang, I wish I remember her name. Oh my gosh, like, if I see these ladies, I probably will recognize them. But another Mexican girl and shit like that. But Miss Rose, she was real strict. She was real Christian. Like, she was real strict on Christianity. We couldn't cuss. We couldn't listen to rap music. We couldn't watch regular movies. We couldn't, like, none of that. You hear what I'm saying? Like, she was strict. Like, you know what I'm saying? Wednesday, church Bible study. Sunday, so we helping. You know what I mean? And like, though, but she was mean though. Like I would get dressed and stuff like that, and she'd be like, no, and then she had other girls and shit laughing at me and shit like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, type shit, like just a mean spirit. Like, you know what I'm saying? She had a little mean spirit in her and shit like that. So I used to peep that. And I used to isolate, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it felt like, you know, 100 girls, you know what I'm saying? And shit like that. And it's just like me. over here and shit like that. And I kind of just got used to that. I used to do that shit. Once I felt any funny spirit and I really just don't want to be aggressive towards you, it's best, you know what I mean? I just isolate, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of just how I dealt with it, because I know that it's not always time to put hands on somebody. Like, be for real. This was that type of situation, you know what I'm saying? I had to tell myself that, you know what I'm saying? And so, I took my meds every day and shit, mind my business and shit. And she used to let us go to the movies and shit. But then the Mexican Cholo chick, you know what I mean? The one I was telling you, she was the oldest. So she used to have like this big sister type of vibe. I respected it. I peeped it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It was something that it was just, you know what I mean? It's still boundaries, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. So I peeped it out, you know what I mean? I understand. I let her, utilize it whenever, you know what I'm saying, she felt need and stuff like that. There was one time that I was we used to ride the bus, but I would leave out before the girls and stay at the bus stop so I could hit my blunt, you know what I mean, without hearing their mouth or them snitching on me, because they would constantly like say like, hey, we seen her leaving out on lunch, skipping and smoking and shit, because I used to skip and shit with the crew and go and we'd be in the back by the ditch and shit. DeCaney had a ditch behind it. We used to be right there, smoking and shit like that. You know what I mean? Talking, smoking, hanging out and shit like that. No weird shit. So it's like, but they would snitch, but these were my group of friends and shit. But they would, but the foster girls, they would snitch on me and shit like that. And so I would be like, okay, cool. So I'm just gonna, you know what I mean? I'll be a little bit more secretive, feel like, okay. So I would go before school and hit my blunt and shit like that. And so I would be like, one time we was going to we was walking somewhere, but I went in the store and bought me a cigar and shit. And so, and then she was like, what did you get out of this store? She was like, what did you go in there and buy? Well, I was like, and then I looked at her, I started laughing and shit like that, But when we get to the house and shit, she tell Mama Rosa, you know what I'm saying? She tell Mama Rosa, like, I went in there about something, I'm smoking weed or something like that. What I always say, I ain't got no mama. Shit, I belong to the state of Texas. Shit, that's how I always feel being growing up in CPS, growing up in Houston and shit like that. Like, I belong to the state of Texas. I ain't got no mama, ain't no, like, it ain't no telling on me. If anything, I tell on myself. Because it ain't no touching me. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I used to be like, are you serious? Are you fucking serious? So, in the kitchen, they all in the middle, like, I'm, like, come on, man. Like, if I really wanted to, I don't care nothing about this place. My caseworker been and come and get me. You know what I'm saying? This is like always how I'm like feeling about that shit. Like, they have been and came and got me, or I've been and ran away. But you know what? It's okay, because I sat back and I plotted and I did run away. I had called my cousin Mary. She came and got me. And shit like that. And so, this was my cousin and stuff like that. My cousin Mary and stuff like that. So I'm living with her, having the fun. Still, I'm on probation. So I got a curfew and shit like that. And I have to constantly check in. And I had forgot, because I was doing hours and stuff like that. Because being steady going to that juvenile back in, you know what I mean, steady going in and out the juvenile, you know what I mean, they had just, the judge, they had issued me probation and stuff like that. So I was on probation and I had hours to do. I had 150 hours to complete. So I used to, you know what I'm saying, try to do that shit. I try to get that shit done at school and shit like that. But this was the summertime. Oh, that happened back when I had started back school. But this was the summertime that I think I had violated probation or something like that. I forgot what the fuck I did. I don't know what the hell I did. I don't know what I did. But it was bad. It was bad. Oh, man. And then my cousin didn't want me to stay because I was getting in trouble. I was buying shit off of her cable. It was people coming to the door asking for me and shit like that, like just getting into trouble and shit like that. It just wasn't, because my mind is just, I'm not thinking straight. You know what I'm saying? Not taking my meds, wasn't taking my meds and shit. So I'm probably thinking I'm Don Corleone or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? So it was just all bad. Like, when I don't take my meds, I think I'm certain people and shit like that. Like, you get bad. You get real bad. But, the tweaks, you get the tweaking real bad. But, caseworker came and got me. After that, we back to Acres home. So, if anybody look, this is my last placement. Around this time, I done made it all the way to 16 years old up in this shit. 16, I'm getting Guardian Angels, my last placement. I think around this time, like that, I'm still specialized. They got all kind of girls there though and shit. But I go into the house where it's the oldest girls and shit like that, and it's the youngest girls and shit like that. And this motherfucker, and it's just like nothing different, but a lot more calm. It's like I got older now. It's like I'm not doing too much no more. You know what I'm saying? It's like I get it. It's like I learned the system. You know what I'm saying? It's like I had a CASA worker. I had like 2 CASA workers. These are 2 white attorney women. You know what I'm saying? And they looking after me. I had my probation. I was completing them hours and shit like that. I had most psychiatric evaluations and shit, because, you know, they always got to get your meds and shit, right? So they got to, you know, got to see where you at. Like, court every 3 months for the legal stuff. CPS court every 6 months. But this been that. But now it's like, I'm paying attention to a little bit. You know what I mean? To the system, you know what I'm saying? As far as, I know it's like, you know, it just took years to kind of understand what the fuck, you know what I mean, I was in, and still not fully understanding what I'm in. I had got it to the where it's like, for my meds and shit like that, I was trying to, get out of them, giving me my meds, and me getting them myself, and me taking them myself. So, like, basically, like, because the staff used to have to, like, I don't know, you know what I mean, and shit like that, but I don't know what the fuck, and all of that shit probably could have been fake, too, now I'm looking at it, but we had went to court for that shit, though. I don't know, like, I don't even know what the fuck I was fighting for around that time. Like, I just didn't like I didn't like the control they had, kind of like over my meds and shit like that. And then, like, yeah, so that was that and shit. I kind of forgot. Man, there was one point I had went in the attic. Like, I guess the oldest girls only can go in the attic and shit. Went in the attic to get the winter coats out and fiberglass. I got a hold to some fiberglass. That shit was in my skin. They thought I was tweaking. I said, I'm not doing nothing. I wouldn't go to school, nothing. I stayed in their living room. They had to take me to the hospital. Because that shit was fucking with me. And then I think, I'm like, now I've been lonely for so long. What if it was all a delusion? That's what was funny about this shit. Because, you know what? I'm bipolar 1 with psychotic features, and I struggle with a lot of fucking delusions and voices and mixed reactions. My reactions get messed up. My thinking it's just like, yeah, you have to look up all of the shit by yourself. It's just a whole crazy being, right? So it's just a whole lot of shit. But man, age out of care, right? Move back to the Pilchin. The Pilchin is now not a RTC for CPS, but it's for aftercare. Now, you get the age out of care, now it's for aftercare. So, now they're going to help you transition into adulthood, basically. You know what I mean? And it's so crazy because you've been out of a lot of, like, you've been in this whole system Like, you know, public, you know how like I don't want to say, like, when I was a teenager and shit like that, I walked around Acres Home, I walked around Studewood, you know what I mean, I was getting into shit, you know what I'm saying? I used to motherfucking smoke on a slab right across from where they sold the dope. I used to just sit there and watch how the crackheads just buy dope. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I didn't been in, you know what I mean, certain shit. Like, so it's like, you have that. Like, you have, like, extra hood shit. And then you have, like, white, from, like, court, like, I don't know how to explain it. You know what I'm saying? That business, hey, this is serious. Hey, this is, you know what I mean? Hey, this is your meds. Like, you know what I mean? It's like order. And so it's like street, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, you know what I mean? And so it's like, and that shit combined. You get me? Looking at us. But nah, that shit funny. So it's like all this shit, you know what I'm saying? And then plus we're dealing with just other shit, you know what I'm saying? And then boom, so it's like you age out of care. And it's like you free. And they aged me out of care because see, I had a little job at the end. I was working. And they was only letting me spend $50 on my check. Or if my check probably like $300. And so I spend 50 or 100 or something, 50 out my check, and then put it up. Oh, my check wasn't $300. I can't remember. It was something good though. But good enough for being 17 and shit. But then I don't remember towards the end, bro. It's like shit just says just start, like, you know what I mean? I remember, and thank you, Miss Mimi, she gave me some school clothes. Cause boy, I thought I had to get it out the mud. Like, it was towards, it's like they wasn't gonna give me no school. I was like, what? I remember my little casa worker lady. I was like, man, I could pull up to, like, so she was like, you know, some churches and stuff like that. They have, and I remember, man, I was getting some good stuff. Like, I was getting some good stuff out there, after some Steve Madden and shit like that. Like, I was used to always getting, like, hand-me-downs. I grew up in CPS, so I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Hand-me-downs are brand new shit. It's like the two extremes. Either your shit gonna be spanking brand new, or your shit is used double up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I was used to, like, the two extremes and shit. So it's like, that shit had got me though. So I remember that. I remember looking at it. But like, growing up in CPS, people gonna be like, it ain't just like, oh, you know, for, like, you know what I mean? But it is just different. It is a different, like, you know what I mean? And then it's like, yeah, it's crazies. It's like you grow up around crazies and shit. But you never know until later on, you know what I mean? When you struggling in life, it's just like shit had to really trigger me for me to understand how messed up I am and shit. It's like, okay, I see that this is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? This needs to be handled and shit like that. And then it's like, you see it, so you be like, man, okay, well, I'm smoking some weed and shit. Then it's like, boom, you find yourself just self-medicating for years. You losing it. I remember, like, I think I was like 25. It's like the bow and arrow had it's like, boom, I did 5 years unmedicated. 5 years unmedicated. All weed, smoking weed, drinking, music. That's the only things that kept me regulated. In isolation, weed, drinking, music. That was my regulation bundle for bipolar 1 with psychotic features. That was my bundle and shit like that. And then it's like, boom, when I snap it, and then psychosis. I had spiritual psychosis. Spiritual psychosis. But it's cool because, see, I had learned Christ at my core as a teenager. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I had lived with a devout Christian, a devoted, like, type of woman. You know what I mean? With an evil spirit, too, she had. So maybe she wasn't that devoted. She was mean as fuck, spiteful, petty ass. But just always trying to let you know, like, hey, you know, she can do this better. I know, sweetie, you're older. I expect that. I expect nothing less. But that shit used to be tripping me out though. But so that is what had got me, right? And so I look at, you know what I'm saying, smoking that weed and shit like that. And then it was one point, then getting it just yeah, 20s still tweaking. You know what I'm saying? I got into X pills and shit like that, popping X pills and shit, knowing I'm a motherfucking maniac by heart. Why? Come on, man. They shooting at me. They shooting at my car. They shooting at my Mercury. Shit got just ugly. It got ugly and shit. Then around that time, my baby's father had left me. He had left me, so it's like that was like my walking brain a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So he walked on out. I'm shooting. I'm pulling up drama everywhere. I'm making the block hot, basically. And so I'm making a block hot, but I'm finna go and get these kids though. But this shit got crazy though. But I think after I was having babies and shit, steady fucking losing my mind, isolating, keeping it hush, keeping it quiet. You know what I'm saying? Shit tripped me out. It tripped me out. I was like, OMG. Yeah. I'm making it. Part 2.